I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for liking and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels. In case you have not subscribed to our Spotify channel, please do so that you can listen to all the videos in audio form anywhere, anytime. And thank you very much for writing in your comments and your suggestions on our channels. Today, we are going to talk about upcoming eclipses, and we know that the eclipses do not happen in singularity. They always happen in a pair, or in very rare circumstances as in threes. So what is an eclipse? That has been defined many a times in our old videos. An eclipse is when three celestial bodies are coming in a straight line, such that the light from one body is obstructed by another. And lastly, that forms a shadow on the third body. As you can see in the background, there's the sun, and the light from the sun is obstructed by the moon, and there's a shadow of the moon falling on the earth. This is a classic case of a solar eclipse. And when this moon goes behind the earth, then there is a case of a lunar eclipse where we are not able to watch or see the moon even on a full moon night. So the solar eclipse happens on an Amavasya or a new moon day, and the lunar eclipse happens on the Purnima or a full moon night. Having said this, let us see where this lunar eclipse is going to be seen in the world in the upcoming lunar eclipse that we will be seeing, which will be happening on the 26th of May. So on the 26th of May, the lunar eclipse can be seen in South and North America. It can be seen over the Pacific, and it can be seen also in Australia, in full parts of China and India. Also, we would be seeing that the Southeast Asian countries would also be able to see the eclipse. What would be the planetary position in case of this eclipse? As we have defined earlier, the planetary position would be that the sun and the moon, in case of the lunar eclipse, will be 180 degrees apart, with the sun being in the sign of Taurus. Rahu-Ketu axis is mandatory in case of eclipses. So Rahu would also be there with the sun in Taurus. Again, we have Mercury sitting there. Venus is in Gemini, and Mars is debilitated. We go on further into Moon and Ketu being in Scorpio, and Saturn retrograde in Capricorn. Also, we would be seeing that Jupiter is in the sign of Aquarius, in Saturn sign, and in Dhanishta Nakshatra. So after 15 days, we would be experiencing the lunar eclipse. In the lunar eclipse, the regions again that would be covered would be the American continents, that is the North America and the South America, and parts of India would also be covered, Australia, the whole of Australia, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Parts of China would be covered. The scene when we talk about the lunar eclipse is, the solar eclipse is a little disheartening, though I do not generally like to put in views which are disheartening, or for that matter, which can create panic and fright. But we need to be cautious. This is important, and this needs to be said as to why. We see that the general chart on that day of the solar eclipse on 10th of June would be Rahu, Moon, Mercury retrograde, and Sun, all of them in Taurus. Taurus is a sign of money. Taurus is also the sign of your education and your family values. Venus is in the same position as in case of the lunar eclipse, which would be in the sign of Gemini, and Mars would also be in the sign of Cancer. Saturn, as we know, was retrograde, will be remaining retrograde, and Ketu would be in the sign of Scorpio, with Jupiter being in Dhanishta in Aquarius. So why is it that this eclipse is a little disheartening? Well, for one, Moon Mercury and Moon retrograde Mercury and Sun would all be in Mrigasira Nakshatra. The Vimshottari Dasha Lord of this Nakshatra is Mars. And that means that when we have to see how the eclipse starts, so when we take the Chandra Lord, Mars would be debilitated, aspected by a retrograde Saturn from a position of strength, that is from its own house. So here, what comes out, and for it's more applicable for the mundane and the Aries Lagna people, is what comes out is there's a relentless search, because Mrigasira is the nakshatra for search. Rahu, on the other hand, is in the nakshatra of Rohini, and as per what we had told you in our video of Rohini, is that when Rahu would be moving into Rohini, is that it is a very expansive period. Whatever happens in this period is expansion. So your search is relentless. Your thought process is going haywire, jumping like a monkey from branch to branch without any connectivity of the trees that's moving around. So what you really need to do is have a strong control over your thought process. Again, this jumping and not being able to find a good solution can lead to a lot of frustrations, irritations on your path, because this Mars is debilitated for you. It can cause health issues also for you, because this Mars is the lord of your Lagna and your 8th house. And Saturn being retrograde as the Karmakaraka is making you, or trying to make you understand, that you need to visit certain areas of life time and time again, do your work properly, such that you finish a lot of things that are pending on a large scale. Not only of this life, but some prior lifetime also. And Saturn also aspects your 7th house, which makes sure that you have to be very specific about your partnerships. So for the Aries Lagna people, go easy on your labor, but think what to do, and think on a very straight line basis. Don't move haywire. And your energy quotient may feel a little low or obsessed, or a little low, or it can be very repetitive. It can be fraught with fear. Fear not, think straight, and go on a very strong run. As a remedial measure, we know that Rahu and Rohini can also give you results if you do a lot of meditation. Today is a good day for doing a meditation, that especially this solar eclipse time, utilize it for meditation. And that holds true for all the Lagnas. Solar eclipse has a lot of energy that should be channelized and harnessed. And if it is done in good faith and in a nice way, you can also use it for your better liftment. And it can be also done to improve your finances, because 2-5 houses connect with finances and education and family also. So it can bring about stability if you are doing this meditation in the daytime. So now let us move on to the Lagna of Taurus. For the Taurus Lagna people, this is happening right there on your Lagna. A tumultuous time, because your 2nd lord, 5th lord is retrograde, asking you to take a very strong stand on your thought process. Yes, because that is your thought process. If it is haywire, if it is not in the right direction, then you are likely to suffer from loss of income. Again, it's your 3rd lord and the 4th lord which is under this radar and on your axis. So 3rd lord is all about initiation, about trying to do things, and the 4th lord talks about your way of connectivity and your security issues. These are the things that you're needing to work on. These are the things that will come into light for you, because after the eclipse, all these things emerge out as factors or priorities that you need to talk about, you need to touch base with. So these are the things that you would really need to concentrate about, with Mars being debilitated as your 12th and your 7th lord. It is time that you, instead of focusing on your partners, you focus some attention on your own self and internalize certain amount of energy without getting angry. 3rd house Mars can make you speak things that you can be you might feel apologetic about or guilty about on a later date. So you need to be very specific on that issue, also very alert. And being aspected by Saturn, retrograde Saturn from the ninth house, it means that whatever your elders tell you, you need to be very repetitive in doing that, and you need to perfect that art till you are the best in that field, such that your money making ideas will also start generating incomes for you. As I have told you earlier, meditation is one of the best things that people can do during this eclipse, and worshipping Lord Hanuman is also another factor that we can all do. Another thing that as we move on to the Gemini Lagna, for the Gemini Lagna, Venus, the Lord of the 12th house, in whose house the entire transit is happening, can be seen. There's an exchange between the Lagna Lord and the 12th Lord. This exchange is not considered very good, and as such, again, for the Gemini Lagna people, what they really need to realize is that they need to be more focused on doing certain charitable things. But when they do these charitable things, when they move into a zone of meditation, when they are able to make an inward journey, because Mercury retrograde in the 12th house is probably one of the saving graces, because it gives you an ability not to be too judgmental. And with Moon, it might, and on Riksira, but it can take you on to a different quest or a different search of the Almighty. So allow your mind to freely move in that direction. Don't be overwhelmed by it, but think of the possibilities. This is a spiritual quotient that you can have. On a materialistic level, try to see how to improve yourself, because Venus on the Lagna would make you feel more beautiful. It would make you want to spend certain time on your own self, and it might get certain hidden talents out of you, because Venus is also about skills. In the sixth house, when Ketu is posited during this time, it also means you do have the capability. Mars in the second house gives you the fire to learn something, to do something good for yourself. So when you're doing this, you can, in spite of Mars being debilitated, certain amount of fire will turn up in your life, and for that you should be grateful and go ahead and doing things as and when possible. We move on to the Cancer Lagna. For the Cancer Lagna, this entire thing is happening in your Badhakesh, in your Badhak house. This transit is taking place in your Badhak house, and your Yoga Karaka is on the Lagna. Again, your Lagna Lord is under affliction. So this could be problematic for your mental state, because Moon is your Lagna Lord. But as the Yoga Karaka, Mars is stationed on the Lagna, you would be pushed, or the energy, the spurt is very much there, the spark is there. Pull it out and work hard. You will be able to overcome these obstacles, because Mars gives you that energy to overcome these obstacles. With Moon in Riksira and being your Lagna Lord, you might be having an internal search, or you could be having a search, because Moon also talks about business. Moon also talks about money from others. So you could have an internal search, or you could be looking into organizations for loans, because the 8th house is also about loans. And as Saturn, the Lord of the 8th house, is retrospect aspecting your Lagna, you could be thinking of taking certain loans or repaying certain loans. So if you do that, that will also take away the Rahu factor. Again, with Rahu, with being it with Moon for you in the place of Badhakesh, and Moon being your Lagna Lord, which is also a mother sign. So I would suggest that you can also do the puja of Goddess Durga. We move on to the Leo Lagna. For the Leo Lagna people, it is the Lagnesh, the 12th Lord, and the planet of value Mercury, which is retrograde and all present in Riksira, and on the Rahu-Ketu axis being eclipsed by Rahu. So, and your Yoga Karaka is in the 12th house. When the Yoga Karaka Mars is in the 12th house, as per what I have seen, it's a time to do a lot of donation. It is a time when you let go of things, and that enriches your luck factor in life. With your planet of value under eclipse, and it is also in Vriksara Nakshatra retrograde, showing a deep amount of internalization and a quest for something unknown, a quest for, probably because it's your 10th house, a quest for your monies from your profession. But the search is very, very vague. The search is very scattered all over the place, and it needs to sharpen the focus. One needs to sharpen the focus, get the focus in place, and look into specific areas where you can make a killing. So if you are able to do that, Rahu would help you. But for that, a concentrated effort in a particular direction is required. Saturn, being your sixth lord in the sixth house, aspecting your yoga karaka in the 12th house, says as much as you donate, as much as the hard work and labor as you give in the nation, and because it's Saturn, it says that it is due. You are due to do that at some level and some place. So the more you do that, the more you will prosper in life. We come to the Virgo. For the Virgo Lagna, the Lagnesh is, and with the Ekadash, the Lagnesh, that is Mercury, with the 11th Lord and the 12th Lord are under the influence of Rahu-Ketu axis, and they are all in the nakshatra of Mrigasira. So your quest is not just about money, and it's also in the 9th house. When we connect the 9, 11, and the 12, it's not just about money, it's about societies, it's about people, it's about the higher associations that you want. Well, you can want higher associations, and which is good, but this search, again, as I repeat, the search has to be internalized, and the search has to be very strong. It cannot be scattered where you do not know what to do, or as we are searching so that we find a focus as to what we do. But when the planet is retrograde, and that to Mercury, it gives you multiple options, and multiple options again bring in a lot of data and confusion. So once we need to sit down, sort it out as to which direction we want to move in, and then having laid our hands, or having touched base there, we can move ahead and create a good place for ourselves. As we move ahead with and in the 9th house, as a remedial measure, in the 9th house, you can worship Goddess Durga. You can do the Hanuman Chalisa on a regular basis, especially during the solar eclipse. Or if you want to move into the best form of remedy is internalizing and doing meditation, there's nothing like it. We move on for the Libra Lagna. For the Libra Lagna, here, it's all happening in the 8th house. These are sensitive points. When other planets which cross these points, but here we see that most of the planets that were scheduled to crossing these points this year have already done so. But when we find aspect or crossing of these points, Ketu's area would be crossed on a later date, we'd see the resurrection or the news coming out. With Libra Lagna, for the Libra Lagna, the Lord of the Lagna is in the 9th house, a good thing. But the Lord of the Lagna is in exchange with the 8th Lord, and the 8th Lord, the 9th Lord is in the 8th house. There shows a change in your way of thought process. If you can do that, if you can expand your basis, and you would be coming to learn a lot of things after the eclipse is over about your difference in your the apparent way as to how you look at religion, and the way you do your bhakti can be understood. Again, the 9th house is the loan that one is the house that one makes, and Venus sitting there makes sure that you make a very beautiful home. And Venus being the Lord of the 8th house, it could mean that you could have taken a lot of home loan. In case you have done so, please read the disclaimer very carefully, because Rahu is sitting in Rohini. The interest rates could be quite high, and it could be deceiving also at one end. The agreement could be deceiving. Please do read that clause carefully when you are doing so. With Mercury as the 9th Lord in the 8th house retrograde, you are speculating, or you're having great wild ideas about what direction in life in general you need to move in, or the higher path, because there's dissatisfaction about your own self within you. So yes, that is a possibility, but that answer will only come from self-contemplation in a very focused manner, where we do not lose our ability to focus on our own selves when we are cut off from the world. In such a case, you will be able to find answers to it as the sun moves out of the shadow of Rahu, and so does moon. In fact, when moves to its own house, that is the third house, that is the 10th house for you, you would be able to understand a lot more and probably build your functioning around that area. Let us talk about Scorpio Lagna now. For the Scorpio Lagna, it's all happening on a 1-7 axis, with the 8th Lord, 11th Lord being involved, with the Lagna Lord being debilitated and aspected by the 3rd Lord in a retrograde manner. It's a little disheartening kind of a place here, if I can say so, because the 7th house is all about your social status. The 9th house is your Purva Punya. When it is being aspected by a retrograde Saturn, you might feel like questioning as to what you have done in a past that is giving you a non-conducive time. The only thing that I can tell you, or the only reprieve that you can get here, is just do not react. Because Mercury is a planet of reaction, and when it is retrograde, it is asking you not to react. It is asking you to internalize this energy. And Scorpions, being Scorpions, have that ability in great deal as to be non-reactive or poker-faced. So with your Lagna Lord also down, your areas of quick thinking or your ability to plan things out can be a little on the slow. So the best thing here that you can do is be non-reactive or poker-faced and allow things to happen. With your 3rd Lord being retrograde and aspecting your Lagna Lord, it is asking you to think things slowly, time and time again, before you come to a decision or take a call, because the 7th house is also finding a path, taking a path, or taking a calling or a standing. So with the 8th Lord in the 7th house being retrograde, do not take a call or a stand impromptu. Give it some time to settle before you take a call, and then things will be all right with you. Mrigasira is the search. Mrigasira is a fall while talking nonsense or bad or being extremely humorous with people and then getting one back. So do not fall in that region, because Saturn retrograde in the 3rd house where you are in transit can actually take you away from talking, or being aspected by Mars and Rahu can give you a very vitriolic tongue. Please be aware of that. We need to move ahead with Sagittarius Lagna. For the Sagittarius Lagna, the 2nd Lord is retrograde and aspecting the 12th Lord in the 8th house or the 5th Lord in the 8th house. If you're planning certain changes with your children, it's very important that you talk it out with them before they take certain decisions, because the entire process of the eclipse is happening in your 6th house. 6th house is the 2nd house of your children, for your children. It could also mean the planning of their studies. It could also mean search for finances of your children. And if you as a person take these decisions for your children, then you could be making certain decisions which may not be right and could reflect on you on a later date. Again, as it happens in your 6th house, and that too Mercury, which is the 7th Lord retrograde, Moon, which is your 8th Lord retrograde, high time you paid some attention to the water elements, to the enzymes in your body, to the hormones in your body, and work to get them straight. We, as a race, want to earn money. We want to hurry up here and there, and Sagittarians want to cover everything and everywhere. They want to be everywhere and cover everything, which does take a toll on a human's psyche and personality. So here is an opt time to slow down certain processes, get care of your health, and then move ahead. With your 12th Lord in the 8th house, a Vipreet Raj Yoga is formed. So when you pay attention to your health, it will definitely improve. Finally, as we move ahead with the Capricorn, for the Capricorn Lagna, we see that this entire thing is happening of the eclipse is happening in the 511 axis. 511 axis talks about unsettlement, here in your family life, or it talks about certain things relating to grandparents. It also talks about your studies, your ability to understand certain things, and also talks about your finances on a which can be related to speculation. So here is a disclaimer for all of you. If you are in a speculative mode, please do not cross your boundaries. Rahu can tempt you to make more of it. You can be tempted without much knowledge. This is going to be fatal for you in the long run. So don't do that. Secondly, when we talk about your second lord or your sixth lord in the fifth house, and there being an exchange, high time you took good care of your grandparents or your own health, because yes, your health may suffer and you will also have the ability to come out of it. So instead of going that route, if we just from the beginning learn how to keep our health on an even keel, we'll be happy and grateful. And finally, with your fourth lord debilitated, yes, there can be certain upsets at the family front, and you should work harder to restore that, because your Lagna lord is retrograde on the Lagna, making you want to work harder to restore that peace, and you will be able to do that. As we move ahead for the Aquarius Lagna, the planet of value is on the Lagna, a very saving grace for all of us. And we know that your Yoga Karaka is in the fifth house. So for the Aquarius Lagna people, the situation is not as bad or as tensed, to be using a better word, as it is for the other Lagna people. However, you need to be careful on the home front, because you may be searching for a home. You may be searching for a lot of peace in life. You need to come to a realization as far as home is concerned before signing any papers, any documents about your home or your security issues. Please be very careful and read the disclaimers carefully, because it's Rahu which entices you, and in Rohini makes you more greedy, if I can say so, and more susceptible to a fall. But with your fifth lord, Mercury being retrograde in Mrigashira, you need to stop your search at one point, and you need to concentrate more on your home and security, and your education can wait for a certain amount of time. With your third lord and the 10th lord, which is debilitated, there's a strong suggestion for you, and your Lagna lord in the 12th house, strong suggestion for you not to bring about too many changes in work at the moment. It's also in the 6th house. It can take a toll on your health. And because the entire thing is happening in Mrigashira Nakshatra, you will realize it at a later date when it may be a little difficult for you to do anything about it. So please take care of your health more, and remember, you are in a better position than people belonging to the other Lagna. Finally, we come to the Pisces. For the Pisces Lagna people, it's the 3-9 axis that is being hampered. So I would suggest very honestly that stay out of any fights that come your way, because the 6th lord is in the 3rd house, and that too sun, so you might get a little aggressive and create enmities with people, with the 5th lord also being there. With the Mercury being retrograde and being the 4th and the 7th lord, yes, there's certain animosity that you can feel for people around, or for that matter, you may feel that you are not being given your due, but allow that to, my suggestion is let this time period pass, because your 2nd and 9th lord is debilitated. You might be irritated and frustrated for not being able to push work further. You will be able to get work done once Saturn moves backwards, or once Mars comes out of the periphery of Saturn. So show that patience, wait, and patience is something that Pisces people have in bucketful. So you are capable of that. Till we meet with you again, stay safe. This too shall pass, and this is one of the best periods to harvest good punya through meditation and through the puja of Lord Hanuman and Devi Durga. Till we meet with you again, stay safe and be happy.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates.
Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.